can to keep the skies clear, but I don't know. I don't think as soon as word gets up the command that Connery's brought in an Air Force, there'll be a larger response by Cobalt.
Connery attempted to bring in a Sunder.
Oh my god! Pumpkin search! Call off the ServerSmash! We're finding pumpkins. Whoever can find the most pumpkin... No, that's not happening. No.
Maelstrom, could we get some tracking on that before the end of the alert, please?
The alert's running, yeah. So we can see, we can just press tab and you can see. Well, let's see if anyone actually gets pumpkins. Lol.
Should that count for or against your outfit?
Oh, that's a good point. We can see that the Connery force is keeping the air, and they're using a good effective with Liberators to pick off the galaxies, but it's hard to see. I don't know if I'm seeing more Reavers. I think Cobalt's got the air control, or will do shortly. Yeah, they've brought in extra reinforcements. They're beginning to clear the skies, but they're buying time, not being able to attack the ground. And because this is a defensive base, it's not neutral, I think they have a Sunder on the inside with the shields are up. Yeah, they do. So they've got deployed Sunder. That's essentially a better spawn room. It's not going to happen. Cobalt theoretically had a small window of attack on this base. They need to repair their terminals, get some fresh vehicles out, and then they need to work on the getting their SU back up. SU would solidify their defense on this base.
Connery just took Lithcorp Central on the central mountain. That was TRG, and I think this was a fact of Cobalt had too many pans in the fire, and they couldn't deal with everything here. They did manage to come at the last possible second. They're back on the point. And it's going to be interesting to see if Connery can hold this with the resonate spam and maybe kick them off. And maybe this is an attempt to push for the center. Maybe they decided the north and the south isn't working out for them. Let's go try and push for the center, which has been dead from Connery's perspective all match.
It looks like Cobalt brought their entire air force to the tech plant. They're marking, actually the smoke flares is being marked by Connery force, so they know where the Sunders are near the spawn room for the, the Connery force knows where the Cobalt Sunders are, and even though the SU generator shields are up, the SU gen is being protected, so that is not going to be up. However, it doesn't matter because the Connery force has got themselves a Sunder. Now, here comes the next point. That Sunder can be easily killed. Oh, nice mines there, picking off the Cobalt Sunder that tried to gate defuse in, as you can see another set.
While all this is going on, Cobalt is seconds away from capturing Econom Garrison and the Augur again. So Connery had managed to get the Augur back.
Double pressure, they're going to get that for free. There's not enough people.
There's not enough people in either one of them. Which means the biolab will be ready to be taken almost instantly as soon as Garrison falls.
Looks like the biolab's already being fortified by Connery.
Yep, they've decided we've lost it and we're going to spawn into the biolab. Oh, this is getting kind of painful now. Augur's captured by the NC, so that's just gone through. And there's no response. There's no last minute push, there's no charging. It's just kind of resignment that, we've lost this base, let's fall back. Alright, there we go. Another base falls from Connery to the Econom Triage is now under attack instantly. And we'll have to see whether or not they decide to try and push the biolab. Let's see. Lithcorp Fortress Central is being pushed. Tech plant, perhaps the capture point is being pushed. We'll come back to there because the shields are up. Aramax was saved briefly, but it looks like there's more numbers for Connery on the point. So they should be able to get the base back. Start the base cap, I should say. The point has been captured by Cobalt at the tech plant. They don't have the same vehicle setup as they had before, but they've applied pressure and they're inside. The SCU, however, has been fully repaired. It looks like the vehicles on the back have been pushed off. Let's have a look. Yeah, so the vehicles have been pushed off. So actually, this is good for Connery, bizarrely, because they are in a better situation than they were last time. The attackers by Cobalt aren't set up, they don't have the Sunder set up, they don't have that vehicle multi-prong set up, and the SU is now repaired, so the tech plant should easily be in hands of the Connery force.
I wonder what's going on here in the north. They're giving, Connery is giving Cobalt everything up to Econom Biolab for free. There is nowhere near enough people to defend Triage Station. There was never enough people to defend Garrison, and I'm trying to figure out where they are. I don't know if they've moved to Lithcorp Central, or maybe they panicked to get back to the tech plant in time, or something. But
well, it may be a last-ditch effort. Econom's the only point of entry into that lattice, so they may just be thinking of a reserve force there, while they allocate more forces to the south or the middle.
Thing is, though, it's a biolab. Biolab can fall in less than something like 2 minutes. And it has an SU generator as well, which means
And
it's going to need to be
Cobalt-
defended and mass redeployed on.
And Cobalt doesn't have to push it. Cobalt is in the lead right now. They are comfortably in the lead, and they don't have to attack a biolab if they don't want to. So, yes, Connery can move forces around if that's their plan, but so can Cobalt at this point. I don't know what it buys you.
Cobalt is air bombarding the living nut out of 4 Sunders, double repair, double ammo, all anti-air, 8 Walker guns, all firing. It is Walker gun auto repair versus air shotgun, air hammer, and rocket pods. it's quite impressive.
Make it through the deadly little building at the choke point of Lithcorp Central, and the one grenade killed practically an entire platoon in that building. They are slowly making it down, and I don't see a ton of Cobalt air around here. There is plenty to make a life miserable for these Connery guys, but they are managing to make it down to the choke point. We'll see if they can push onto the point.
Sunder Force RMX is cleaned up, and the fact is they still have a slight number advantage, and you take into consideration Cobalt's air, there's actually significantly more infantry on the ground for Connery at the capture point than Cobalt, but the fact is they have no spawns, they have no Sunders, so natural attrition is just going to kick in, and Cobalt's going to get the point back. I'd be very, very surprised, especially given the nature of it being slightly exposed and the air being able to bombard with air hammers. And we can already see that beginning to happen.
I see a lot of the Connery people using lashers, and I assume that these are people who don't usually main BS because they're using it like an LMG. They're charging in, and that doesn't work so well with the lasher. Maybe with the jackhammer.
Shiny lasers, man! Shiny lasers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head over to Lithcorp.
Yeah, Lithcorp, a minute here. I don't know that Connery can get down to that point. They are just being hammered too hard at all the choke points by a little bit of air down here and some grenades and. Oh, and Cobalt has a Sunder deployed directly on the point. I mean, this is...
Oh yeah, that's the nature of this base. Because of it's weird. The way the no deployment works, it's actually significantly far away from the... Oh, okay, so there's a gal drop. The problem is this gal drop has to kill the Sunder. That is the one objective. Kill the Sunder. And it didn't happen. It's not a deployment Sunder. It's actually a lot easier for one guy to do it, but they didn't. So, there you go. And it's being mega repaired. And the fact is, that's going to give you maxes, that's going to give you unlimited grenades, and it's going to give you instantaneous spawning on the capture point.
There are some...
Oh, the Sunder's down though. Someone must have got some mines, but on 10 seconds to go, it's just too little too late.
The biolab is under contention. I am actually heading to it right now to see what's going on here.
We've lost the
so Yell Chat is telling Connery, bit of smack talk, why don't you just go hunt pumpkins instead?
At the biolab, the generator was primed and the points were all taken, but Connery came back with maxes and looked to be cleaning up everything except for Alpha Point right now. And this is actually the problem. How many people do you leave here? I would think that you could defend a biolab relatively
Well, you can fully save it quickly, but the problem is, unless... The best thing the problem is Connery's surrounded on 2 sides. The Ickenham Triage and Ickenham Garrison, which means... And the forces are split evenly for the attacking force of Cobalt on both sides. So the fact is, Ickenham Biolab is never going to be saved unless you get both points flipping at the Triage and the Garrison. So this base is always going to be theoretically under contention. And you're always going to be watching it extremely closely, more than you have other bases, because of how quickly it falls. It's just a pop sync now that you have to stay here and you have to defend. Now, the NC force of Cobalt might think, it's the biolab, hooray, let's attack with more people. You know, more people, more maxes, and it could work, who knows. They have a slight advantage, but they're not the defenders, but it looks like they want to try. They've got plenty of maxes on B, they've got plenty of guys on A. The thing is, with the biolab, it doesn't have a teleporter room, right? It's kind of like an old style building like Indar. It's a single cap point, kind of spawn room. What I would like to see the Cobalt force do is, with this number of forces, when they do that fresh push and they have that initial wave of momentum, I'd like to see a capture and contain on the spawn room. You hold the jungle area, you hold the kind of banister kind of area around the SU looking in these kind of main walkways, and then you have a force on the A point and then wide on the A teleporter, so that you watch this kind of tree line there. And then you can just keep a contain up. And there's only 3 exits, theoretically, of the spawn room. And you can watch all of them, then it doesn't matter. You know, you keep them contained and then you hold the points, because holding 3 points is actually faster than waiting for the SU generator, then the SCU, and then the base itself.
There is a a push going on in the southern lane down here. The NC Cobalt are already on Tormir storage yard. They have a very large group down here, and again, I have yet to see a appreciable Connery Air Force, but everywhere I look, there are more Cobalt and they're attacking places than there is Connery, and Connery tends to group everyone together and go save something, whereas Cobalt is obviously doing a very good job of placing their people where they need to in an attack, so that they can get it down and play redeploy side attacking. Absolutely wins you games. If redeploy side wins you games, then redeploy side with attacking definitely wins you games.
Yeah, the air game has not changed since the beginning. Cobalt has a sizable grip on the air game, and Connery's just trying to play guerrilla warfare. They do really well in small engagement, but as soon as that Reaver ball comes around, they have to retreat. They can't make any tangible gains.
So we're just looking at some statistics, and in the beginning, Connery had a slight lead on their Cobalt teams in terms of deaths and kind of stats, and that's flipped. Cobalt is now significantly in the lead in the kills section, almost up to 1,000 kills. So they've basically overtaken, and they have the kind of the kill lead. And in the map timeline, which we just showed a little bit earlier, and we'll show it again, you can see that it was super close until we reached this critical junction just after the halfway point, and then the pressure being applied by Cobalt just begins to ramp up, and there isn't a response by Connery, bar the one base. But then after that, it just collapses again.
I've seen a couple pushes into this Tormir attack here, and none of it has really made it to the point yet. I don't know if Connery doesn't have its forces down here, or if they're waiting, as I was talking about before, to just kind of group up and do one big push, but they seem to not be able to get close to those...
Well, currently it's 4-1 in terms of Reaver Scythe kills. There are 2,000 Reaver kills and only 560 Scythe kills. In terms of weapons, surprise, surprise, what do you think is the top weapon?
The biolab is ticking down.
Yeah, we're watching the biolab.
And Tormir storage is ticking down. It feels like Connery is just constantly on the back foot, even though right now it holds 2, really 3 with Tuma's tech plant, really defensible bases that it could be using to kind of move its forces around, and they don't seem to be able to manage to get that to happen.
So the Orion is on 3,200 kills. It's not saving them though. Then comes the Anchor, then comes the anti-vehicle grenade. C4, which I thought would be quite high, is actually somewhat further down. Rocket pods, lots. Over like 706 rocket pod kills. Looks like there's finally been a push coming in by the Connery forces on Tormir storage yard. I can actually talk. They are at number 2-1, so they're committing more forces and they've got the base safe. But for the next 3 minutes, our Aramax chemical is safe. And this attacking force of Cobalt could theoretically go back to Tuma's cargo facility and make a save, although that's a really tough base to kind of take back as an attacker. As a defender when the attackers are set up inside. You have a look at the biolab in the cannon, just tell me how that's going.
Yep. I was at the Bastion. That seems to be okay from Connery's perspective. They just can't get him off the sea for right now, but that won't really matter.
Connery counter pushing the biolab and retaking it. They still have some work to do to push Cobalt out.
Yeah, their Cobalt is held up in the powerhouse building. This is how the powerhouse building gets its name, for the generator.
Here's a question for you, right? If the warp gates were flipped, I know that the strats may have been different, but the fact is, or let's say Crux headquarters and the Bastion were flipped, right? With the overpowering air force that currently Cobalt has, say they were attacking Crux headquarters, you've got to say that would give them advantage, because the open plan nature of Crux headquarters. So the Connery force, they've got the advantage at the moment that Bastion is the nature of it is a tower base. Therefore, the air force for Cobalt can't be effective against Connery at the Bastion. You would agree with that, right? Not as effective.
Well, not as effective, yeah.
Not as effective. But you'd say, well, that seems to give an advantage to the Western Warp Gate. And we're watching the base here going down with 13 seconds to go. Here comes the last infantry coming in on the point, and they make a last second save. Just infantry. I thought Connery had this base. I really thought they had it locked down, but last push in, mega redeploy by Cobalt and they make a save. So, as I was alluding to earlier, even if Tuba's cargo facility fell, which I thought it would do, the problem is Arax's Firearms Corp. There is a large outpost in the way, and that is going to be difficult. you know,
the
to
reason
make any
that
progress.
you go after Tumas Cargo is because it is such an easy, relatively, base to hold as an attacker, because you have that lovely little mezzanine or whatever looking down, and on top of it, it protects your tech plant. You're now using that for a timer protect of the tech plant, which means you can move people out of there and maybe move them down into that southern lane. Econom Biolab was just fully resecured by Connery. They managed to push Cobalt completely out of the powerhouse building.
So you want to hear an interesting stat?
Okay.
There are 2 pumpkins for Cobalt. There are 4 pumpkins for Connery. And our fun police are up to 17 pumpkins. The fun police are collecting all the pumpkins on Amerish.
I think our fun police are going to win this ServerSmash when we change the rules.
Fresh pressure being reapplied by Cobalt on the C point of the Bastion, just making sure that the save of Bastion takes extra long. The Raxicom and Lithcorp can't be messed with, and the fact that so long as we hold on to C, even if you do make a full save, you can't move off until you push us off. And this is an instance where if Connery had an air force, it would be really effective because the C point's exposed and you have to run in the open.
At the Bastion, I don't know that Cobalt is actually trying to take this. They are trying to be a nuisance and protect the lane and protect the entire center mountain area.
Exactly.
They have a really great Sunder location, and they're perfectly content just sitting here at sea.
I mean, this is the thing, because Connery doesn't have an air force, they can't. If they had an air force, they can bombard all these infantry totally in the open, just not giving a care in the world, because they know that there isn't an air force. Oh, okay. Speak of the devil, there's a little bit of air. There's even a Valkyrie. The Valkyrie flying between 4 Reavers, 2 Valkyries. What are we doing? Follow you. Where's this guy going? Following a Valkyrie from Bastion, he's going to Raven's Landing. Is he going to... He's going from the back end of Tumas Cargo? Oh, this is interesting. Okay, you flew all this way here, medic. Now what are you going to do? You're going to put down a beacon? You're going to res that heavy assault? No, you're not going to res the heavy assault. You're not going to res that guy right there. You are all that's wrong with this game. Medics that don't res their friends. Oh, there's a lot of world of hate. I hope you die. I hope you die. There you go. Yes. Oh, do you want someone to res you? Oh, well, there's a medic over there. He resed his friend. Maybe he will res you. You didn't res your guy. You can get teabagged by his own team. There you go.
I think Farah needs to perhaps go to some therapy over medic hate. Right
this is not anything to do. I am a medic primarily by class, and I res everybody, and I even die because I res. I'm a great reser, and when people don't res me and they run over my corpse, anyway, they're back on point. 2 minutes to go. The Connery force, they're holding the upper balcony. No maxes, no real support, no sunderers. I mean, it's going to be tough. If Cobalt, like they've shown throughout the rest of the game, decide to, bring in their redeployment force with maxes, this is going to be painful. But with 2 minutes to go, though, it is narrow. The fact is the Cobalt force has to realise what's going on and respond quickly. Tormar storage yard is going down again.
Justicia, game referee and all call. 30 minutes remaining in the match. 30 minutes remaining now.
Connery needs to pick somewhere to push and make it their offensive now. They have just barely enough left to make a good push, whether it's the middle, whether it's the south. I would suggest the north, but the north has been terrible for them the entire match. So, maybe just for morale's sake, go somewhere else. But you need to pick somewhere, you need to put all your forces, and you need to tell everyone else, look, you have to hold. You have to hold at bases that are really good for holding, and we're going to be spending our population somewhere else to go get territory. This is the time to do it, and if it doesn't happen in the next 10 minutes, it's probably never going to happen.
And we're just continuing to watch the reinforcements streaming at Tumas Cargo facility. They're at the 60-second marker. They've got reinforcements. They've got consumables. You'd think maybe they could pull it off this time. They even have a max. They got... Wait, is that 2 maxes? I think that is a second max. Or he's on the roof, perhaps? I'm looking at the minimap at the moment.
Cobalt
There's
has
a max.
significantly more than 2 maxes.
Oh god, Cobalt has significantly more than 2 maxes. Hello everyone. Knock knock. Pizza delivery! You ordered hacksaws? Yes, hacksaws. Oh, but lice grenades! The fact it's only coming from 1 point. Look at the fresh consumables by the fresh reinforcements. That is crucial. This is what I said earlier. Good use of grenades and C4 on the entry point as a choke point is critical. And they've done that. That's really good from Connery. Now, can they hold it for the next 10 seconds? It looks like they might just finally get themselves a base. No thanks to that medic.
This facility now belongs to the VS.
Right, that's it, base flipped. They finally got Tuma's cargo facility. And realistically, why did they do it? They managed to get some extra reinforcements in, and then when the NC force, even though they had 6 seconds, they could have split into 2 teams. The Cobalt force came in 1 doorway, and they must have got hit by about 5 or 6 anti-vehicle grenades and rockets. Picked them all off.
Cobalt has managed to get the SCU gen down, and the SCU is currently ticking with all of them on the SCU building at Econ Biolab. They don't hold any points, but they're about to blow the SCU at this facility if Connery doesn't spam a whole bunch of grenades in that right now.
And we're also currently looking at Tormor Storage Yard. Give me how many seconds on the Biolab?
The SCU goes down in under 30 seconds.
Okay, we'll go there in a second. 10 seconds, 11 seconds, 10 seconds for Tormor Storage Yard. In comes the infantry push for the Connery force. Population numbers are... Actually, Connery has more, but they're not in the right position, and base flips. We see your Tuma's cargo facility, and you raise your Tormor Storage Yard. Right, heading over to the Biolab.
Connery saved the SCU in the last... it was down to 3 seconds ticking. So they did manage to grenade spam them off, and they own all the points they need to get the gen back up, but that was very, very dangerous from Connor's perspective. They were 3 seconds away from not being able to defend this.
Look at the population numbers. They had to pull in twice as many as Cobalt's numbers to make that save. So the constant pressure, even if it's 50-50 pressure on the Biolab, forces Connery to come in with extra people and then just, save. We need to pull in people, we need these extra numbers so that we can guarantee we make the save in the few seconds that we have. And that's great for Cobalt and it sucks for Connery. Bastion is being outpopped again, 2-1. Forces from Bastion must have been pulled back to go to the Biolab.
Yes, and they now own all 3 points here, although this is a pop sync. I mean, this is the kind of thing where you can let them sit here for another 2-3 minutes and come back and still save it, so...
Cobalt.
Pumpkins are being found at a slow rate, but they are being found.
Cobalt does an excellent job dropping on armor. I've seen them do that a dozen times.
From Galaxies?
Yeah, their Galaxies was roll right in the middle of a Sunday ball, and in this case, their Southern Air Wing was in a little bit of trouble with a dozen Sky Guards. But again, that drop on top of the Sky Guards ended that.
Cobalt's Air Wing
whoever's in charge of that force is to be
Cobalt's
commended.
Air Wing is over Tuma's cargo facility, and they have a small force that they drop onto the point. I'm going to see this. At least when I can see, it doesn't even look like it's a squad of infantry that's on the point. So we're going to see if Cobalt can hold the push that Connery's going to have to make through open territory to this point with having only a squad maybe on the actual point. It is a long run out in the open from that spawn room at Tuma's cargo facility.
Reaver shooting his own Sunderer to save it from half a squad's worth of light assaults, beautifully, majestically floating over from the air pad on top of it at the Bastion. But ultimately they got their C4 down and they blew it up. It wasn't a deployment Sunder. But it did look good, and the Reaver was committed to kind of making a save, and he flies away, gets his kills. Just being a nuisance. But they still have the C point at the Bastion, and they're still just being a nuisance. I mean, by holding on to 1 point at the Bastion, alright, maybe now they're losing C, but just holding 1 point, you can make like 7-8 minutes. You can just stall time. And it looks like the reinforcement numbers from the biolab went to the bastion, and the biolab is now 55% NC, that's Cobalt. Tuma's cargo facility, they're outnumbered a little over 2 to 1, and okay, now the extra numbers are being used at Toromar to guarantee the Toromar capture. In fact, to take Toromar, my bad, sorry. We check Toromar out.
They don't. I'm down here right now. They have Connery VS has 1 Sunder, unless it just died. No, I guess it.
Wow, here comes the numbers. C4 is being used. They're softening up the maxes. A couple of deaths. No max deaths yet, though. It is a killer staircase, though, but this banister is going to prevent easy C4ing. But those light assaults are doing the work. There's 2 staircases. Check those C4s. Like, please do come up. Too many C4s, though. One goes off, they all go off. They're making a good defense. They're using the nice bunny hopping on the bridge. Look at this guy. It's like, don't stop. Don't sit there and do nothing. That's the worst thing you can do. It gives the defenders time to re-catch their breath and push you back off. However, we go on the other side. Ground floor has been taken by Cobalt. All the consumables had been used by the Connery force to stop the Cobalt team. And even more and more numbers. Oh, wrong map. Has been pushed in. Still 50-50, but
with under 90 seconds on Tuma's cargo, Connery has managed to push inside. They don't have any maxes yet. I don't know if they can get up onto that little mezzanine. And Cobalt is so secure of their victory, they have moved people already onto the tech plant. There's some of their air forces over there taking out guns.
That's awfully confident, isn't it? Well, they've got the upper platform. They don't have the lower platform. It's risky. Old. What's this light assault up to? Oh, he's hiding, and he's dead. Nice Sunder pull into the point. 60 seconds to go. There's no way that the Cobalt force can last this long. We saw how Cobalt wrecked Connery on the point time and time again. Good grenade force, good picking off from this one choke point. The fact is the Cobalt force doesn't need to defend the section here. Well, okay, there's a few guys coming in from Connery in this rear end, and yeah, they kind of get the point. So, GG again for Connery, making a good save. But they're still 59 down to 38, and with 22 minutes to go, they still need to capture a significant number of bases. This is a very much uphill battle for Cobalt. For Connery against Cobalt.
Connery's only real options here are secure the bastion and try and take the middle, or just put everybody on Toromir storage yard and try and go tick, 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 all those little small 1 cap point bases along the bottom part. It's the only 2 places you're going to be able to really do anything, and the middle is probably the hardest of those because you have to defend Lithcorp Central while you push out to do different points. Cobalt has been incredibly... Cobalt has been very good about defending the pushes, and Connery has had no luck whatsoever in the north at this point. They lost the NC Arsenal even pop fight, and they lost the entire northern lane. It was slow and it was back and forth at a time, but being able to push out of that biolab and getting both of those pieces without losing a 3-minute biolab behind you is going to be a challenge.
It's like the main Cobalt
deployment Sunder, C4 rocket. Is this enough? Can one heavy assault with 2 C4 and a couple of rockets? Depends if he's got a grenade bandolier. Yeah, he does have grenade bandolier. So 4 AV nades, 2 C4, and a bunch of rockets. Is that enough to kill? It looks like it is. It is. So there we go. You can one-man a deployment Sunder, guys. It just involves going absolutely full retard explosives.
Now there's 1 minute left before Cobalt can do anything in this southern lane down here at Toromir, but they've already moved the fight to Walkhook Watchtower. So instead of just sitting around on their hands, waiting for something to happen,
and then moving out, they're already fighting the base. Yeah. But the thing is,
air presence in the north.
The thing is, though, the Walkhook defensive force, the guys who are defending there, they need to not fight at that base. They need to dictate the terms. Now, admittedly, without an air force, that can be difficult. But they basically need to say, this is the Connery force that is currently fighting at Walcott Watchtower. There's no point fighting here. Your numbers are not necessary. See all these guys here? What you really should be doing is applying pressure at Toromar Storage Yard, because you had 2 minutes to get back to the point. By choosing to stay at the watchtower, even though the attackers can't grab the point, you're just giving the initiative to the Cobalt forces. And because they've given up the air, or they don't have control of the air, the Cobalt force, they only have to contend with Sunderer chains, repair Sunderer chains, that with anti-air guns. And okay, the Cobalt force isn't choosing to bring vanguards, because that'd totally be a hard counter. They're just saying, yep, sure, whatever, you be ground forces, you're really slow. And they're already on the capture point. They're ready to go. One good YOLO Gal team to go to Tormar. Oh, look at that. Tormar's actually been stopped with 1 second to go.
Connery has a stalker cloak back there, I think.
Leave the restricted
Well, they have
area
1 to 12. They were being a nuisance. I mean, he's buying time. Oh, wait, he's dead. He's dead. And the NC Infiltrator got the VS Infiltrator. So much for VS 575. I was kind of hoping it'd be more than that because he has actually got a beacon on the tower, or it looks like there's a beacon, so I would have liked to have seen 12 people because they could have stalled for an extra minute or two. It would have bought more time for Connery to get over back to this base and keep the fighting off their base and on the enemy base. And I wonder if this is this medic.
Connery has defended cargo, and they have their own deployed Sunder close to the point. I think they're learning from our Cobaltian friends of that trick. I've seen them do it.
And the thing is, Cobalt, Connery is deployed a beacon. They came with a Valkyrie. They're back on the capture point, but oh, what's that? You can't flip the point. Why can't you flip the point? Because you took far too long in getting back over here. You had like 2 whole minutes, and they've already started flipping the point at Woolcut Watchtower. That means that these bunch of guys doing nothing. 5-6 guys from that Valkyrie spawning? Nah, it's too late. You're gonna have to go back. Maybe leave like 1 infiltrator here, leave a beacon here, maybe sneakily leave the Valkyrie and the Valkyrie pilot here, but you need to go back to Woolcut Watchtower and help make the save. Because they're already set up on the capture point. I saw that before we left. They've got like 1 or 2 squads. God, they even have Maxes and engineer turrets. It's a bit dodgy being because the grenades here could pick you all off. I don't necessarily agree with staying in the capture point. I'd rather these guys were fighting outside. But then again, with the tower, you need to fight on the tower. It's not. I guess where they are is as good as it's going to get for this base. Maybe holding the upper section on the rear to give them cover from the tower. And they're just firmly holding a defense on these 2 doors. But the fact is, these 2 doors can be fairly well saturated with grenades. And the fact that they can jump over along this wall section and get on the roof, they can get behind as well. So this cap point is pretty dicey when it comes to taking it for the Cobalt Force.
The Bastion is a large fight. It looks like Cobalt has decided to commit a significant number of forces up here. And I assume that they're just looking at this as a defense of that central mountain. The more time they take out of here, the better. And especially if they take a ton of time out, it really makes Connery panic and have to come re-secure it. If I'm Connery, though, I think you have to kind of ignore it for a while because you've got Econom, which is a danger. You have Cook, which is a danger. Connery finally has a few people on Arax's Firearm Corps, although that's a real bear to try and take. I'm headed up to Econom biolab to see how that's going.
Yeah, so just we're watching the fight with 80 seconds to go. There's plenty of Cobalt forces on the capture point at Woolcut Watchtower, but you have to think Connery can do this. They can do this easily. This base is definitely favours the defenders insofar as if you have equal numbers or more with fresh consumables, because the attackers are going to be bled out by the time you get to like the 1 minute marker. You can just like that grenade right there. That's good. Bang. And he's going to get the guys? Yep, there you go. So lovely grenades, good bouncing, here they come. There's no reason that the Cobalt Force should take this. I mean, Connery should be able to push in and get it.
Cobalt has taken the powerhouse building and the gen at Econom biolab again. They're ticking it down, and I think that this is they're planning to do their exact same thing they did before. They're going to let that gen tick down. They're going to charge en masse to the SCU and try and steal the biolab from them. They don't seem particularly interested in defending any of the other points. It's mainly just this powerhouse here.
Yeah, and then they've made the push. They've got the lower ground. They've got the capture point. We knew it was coming. The stats, the numbers just simply wasn't there in terms of enough people, but they got close, and I suppose it did commit a huge number of Connery to come back and to come, to make that save, where they couldn't be used elsewhere. You can see the biolab. Did they have to come for the biolab? It's hard to say. You can see they're out popped in the north. The Araxis farms are just doing a token attack, maybe keeping cargo facilities safe. They're not going to get Araxis firearms in the next 14 minutes. It's just too easy of a base to defend, especially with the Air Force and the exposed capture points. It's just never going to happen.
I think the problem here is that Connery has been pushed back so far, and especially being down to that Econom biolab, they are down to 4 fights on this continent. There's only 4 lanes that you can push, and Cobalt is so far ahead that it doesn't matter if they lose one base, so they can overpop anywhere. Pushing out of any of those lanes is going to be
This is Justicia on all call. 14 minutes remaining in the match. 14 minutes remaining.
Just show the stats again to give you the disparity of what's going on.
Cobalt did just push to all 3 points of the biolab, however, and it's now almost a minute until it caps.
Should be 2 minutes without the A. Are they going to get the A point? It's brutal fighting going on all points. The fact is the Cobalt force theoretically could be mass pushed to just 1 point, and then Connery could get themselves 1 point and delay the time. Yeah, there you go. They've got 1 point and they've stalled it to 3 minutes. 3 minutes in a biolab is an eternity. And we're just looking at the map timeline. You can see how throughout this whole game, up to like the just before the halfway marker, it was close, and then it just totally falls apart. And you can see Cobalt just ascends to have a massive majority in lead. The kill graph is roughly stabilized. It's balanced kills and numbers, but we do see that Cobalt is in the lead by about 1,000 odd kills. And the leaderboards, I wonder if these numbers are actually accurate. 1,200 kills for a VS. We need to check those numbers with Maelstrom, but that's a lot. In terms of outfits, no, that can't be right because the person kills are more than the actual outfits. We'll have a look into that. But we can see that Red Mist and Future Crew, and there's a couple of other kind of outfits and recursions there. A lot of outfits, however, are just kind of how should I put this? Organizational. For example, we can see Bravo Air in ServerSmash, so that's just their the outfit to know where they are. Probably because they're from more than just one outfit. And we can also see the Connery force has got themselves the SU generator back and got themselves the biolab back, and they just made a successful push. Population numbers, yeah, they're outnumbering them 2 to 1. The Orion is still in the lead. It's got 4,200 kills. I think it's like the most Orion kills we've seen for a while. And the Anchor's like second place. Then comes the AV grenade. What a surprise!
Connery has decided, it looks like, to push out in the center, not so much the south. They have a 12 of 24 on Araxicom Network Hub, and we're trying to push Lithcorp as well. They got kicked off.
Yeah, there's a big force at Lithcorp, and that force at Lithcorp needs to go to Araxicom Network Hub to make it safe. But theoretically, they could also send that force down to the south because they're re-attacking the Wokock Watchtower. And with 2 minutes to go, I mean, let's see how many people they've got set up again. Oh, okay, that's problematic. Sunder right outside the double doors, and it's worse than it was before. Before it was 60 seconds, and then they've made the push, and now it's on the 2 minute marker. Plus they've got Sunder on the outside. This is really just a harassment force now for Cobalt.
Although look how many people it has dragged down here from Connery that could be doing other things.
A lot, yeah. That force could be attacking Araxicom or could be attacking Lithcorp, but no, the dictator of the fight means it has to come out Watchtower.
I think Connery needs to start thinking.
Oh no! Okay, we do. Want to give us some internet radio?
I think Connery needs to start thinking less about how they can win the game. That's becoming less and less feasible, and more about how they can mitigate this territory score.
Oh my god, I did that wrong. My game's loading.
They won by a sizable margin in their first match. If they can make sure that this is not as bad of a loss, then they wind up with a better differential going into that final match. And if you pump yourself up, and if they can beat Emerald in that final match, then the differential will help them later on. So I think that making sure they defend Econom, which is back ticking again, but also they need to start trying to push out to those individual bases and get this territory control back a little bit more in their favor, even if they can't come back and win the match now. Where are you right now?
We're back. Just loading in the Amerish now.
Econom was down at the 130 mark a moment ago. I'm trying to get it to load in here. They have all 3 points again. I think this is, Cobalt's not just going to let Connery sit 24 people here. They're making enough of a push that Connery has to put a significant number of people here to push him off these points. and they need to do it quickly because the biolab is down to a minute.
This is a request to see what's going on with the pumpkin alert. Right, hold on.
The NC are winning the pumpkin alert.
Oh,
too.
no they're not. The Fun Police is winning the pumpkin alert with 28 pumpkins found. Compared to... The thing is, Cobalt's overtaken Connery in the pumpkins. Anyway, ignoring the pumpkins, there's a small token force being a nuisance at the Bastion. It's 50-50 numbers, but they've got themselves 1 point. They're using the Air Force. Oh wow, Reaver versus Harasser. It's the first Harasser I've seen. And the Harasser's dead. You gonna redeploy?
The generator is about to blow on the tech plant, but I think the Connery has deployed enough people here that they're not going to be able to make a rush for that SC.
We'll redeploy for you. Tech plant, you say?
Managed to get it. Yes. No. I'm sorry. Biolab. And the biolab has been resecured. They even actually managed to stop the generator in time.
Ah, oh well, fair enough. Have a look at the minimap. Oh, wrong button.
Connery has moved to Tormar Storage Yard. They managed to save Walcook Watchtower, and I think this is where they have to make their push. They need to start moving people down here and telling everyone else defend where you can, and they need to start making pushes at Tormar Storage Yard.
Yeah, they do have a token force. They got nearly 50% at Tormar, but the fact is they have a huge amount of people at Watchtower ready to move out. But at the same time, they're losing cargo facility. So do you apply pressure, add the extra people to push in the south? Gambling that your 50% forces can take back cargo facility? I don't think so. I think you need overpop to take back cargo facility, just given the nature of the defensive, extra plateau that the defenders / attackers have when they get the point at Tumas Cargo.
Once you get down into the times in a ServerSmash like this, it is incredibly difficult as the behind server to come back. The winning server knows that all they have to do is defend. They know that they can play redeploy side. They know that they can lose bases even. They can choose what to save. So unfortunately, Connery's going to have to gamble big. They're going to have to put way more people wherever they want to push, and they're going to have to let them sit there to take the base.
Game referee Justicia on all call. 7 minutes remaining in the match. 7 minutes remaining now.
So Tumas Tech Plant is safe. The Bastion can't be capped in time. Of course, neither can any other large facilities, but those are the only two that are around there. So Connery, needs to go save cargo facility, but it's not for the intention.
So cargo facility, because my character's Vanu, I see what the enemy sees, and right now, nothing. They don't see anything on the minimap. There's like 2 or 3 guys in the capture point. But there's like an entire fire line of like 10 guy max that's just looking at the north door saying, you gonna come in? You gonna come in? And then just shooting everything as soon as it comes in the door. Oh, this is murderous. Okay, the Vanu now has a motion sensor up. They can see what they're up against, and with 25 seconds to go, they're focusing more on Tormar Storage Yard. That's wrong. The fact is they're committing more numbers, and Cobalt's actually brought in reinforcements. This I like. I love the fact that you bring in reinforcements to attack. You just don't send what you have and then leave it at that. But the problem is, for the Connery team, they are choosing to attack a base they do not have. They are choosing to attack Tormar Storage, which, and theoretically, what they should be doing is coming to Tumas Cargo Facility, making the save in Tumas, and then attacking. Even though they're critical on points, they have lost the base because they chose to attack what they did not have rather than defend what they did have. And that's one of the cardinal sins you can do in ServerSmash. Unless you're absolutely guaranteed you want to do a base trade, but why would you want to do a base trade? It doesn't seem like a logical thing to... Anyway, Cobalt gets another base. They go up to 61 compared to Connery's 37. This is getting painful now. Connery needs to start considering, hey, we might not get a win here. It's pretty much given up, but we need to stop losing territory. We need to think about the numbers, think about the larger tournament as a whole, and we need to make sure that we don't lose too many points. Because they did have a fairly good win last week, and they got some points laid up. But the thing is that if this goes in a round way where everyone gets 1 or 2 wins and it's kind of balanced numbers, then it's going to be problematic, because they're going to this loss here could make it that they're not second place, for example.
I think the danger here becomes that biolab. That biolab is a 3-minute cap point, which means that every other base on this continent is going to not be in contention, and that biolab will be the last thing that can be captured.
Oh, and
so
Tormar storage was saved, and then the whole fight's now moved back to Woke Up Watchtower because a Cobalt force was leapfrogging across, and they're already on the point. As long as they can hold on to this point.
Interestingly, Connery's deciding to defend Tuma's tech plant. They don't need to. There is not enough time to cap that. You can move everyone off of that. Let them sit there. Let them take it down.
Referee Justicia on all call. There are 4 minutes remaining in this match right now. 4 minutes remaining in this match. Hi guys, just joining you for the last 4.
Yeah, it's fine. So, just for the viewers to view, although my game clock is showing like 3 minutes 40 and whatnot, it's what Justicia says counts. So his is the final words, just so you guys know.
So yeah, Econom is under contention. It can be capped.
Woke Up Watchtower can be captured.
Watchtower as well.
Tuma's cargo facility
No,
can't.
it's not in time. No,
Yeah, so the fact is that entire NC force at Tuma's cargo facility, they can leave. Go to Woke Up Watchtower.
Exactly.
Nothing happens there. The entire force at Bastion, don't care. Go to the biolab. What else? That's it. That's the only 2 bases. Only 2 bases that matter right now is at Woke Up Watchtower and Cannon Biolab. Everything else cannot be captured in time to count.
Yes, correct.
And this biolab is probably the big danger. I'm kind of surprised that Cobalt didn't just put everyone there.
Cobalt knows! They've got 96 plus on Woke Up Watchtower.
We have to note though that the Fun Police seems to be winning the pumpkin alert.
Yes they are. That's all they're doing, grabbing pumpkins. And oh my goodness. Falcon just tried to ram a galaxy. Epic fail! Okay, so Cobalt's Air Force has turned up at Woke Up Watchtower. They're thinking, well, we got nothing better to defend. We are now here. They are on site. There's a narrow margin where they can shoot infantry moving to the double doors. This is the right place. This killing field right here, and anything that goes foolishly onto the roof needs to be bombarded. More reinforcements coming in from Cobalt. Connery Force has sent people to Tuma's cargo facility. That is a mistake. Get the heck off there. And they've got defenders of the tech plant. Get the heck off there. That doesn't matter. They are saving the biolab. That's good. You got too many people at the biolab. You're almost at the point now. 2 minutes. Nobody needs to be in the biolab. Everybody needs to go to Amco Watchtower. The only base that matters right now is Woke Up Watchtower. And Cobalt is the team that realizes this, and they have a lot of people. A lot of people. It's 50-50% though. It's not over. 60%. The Vanny forces, they know. I can't see them though. The map says it's 50-50, but my minimap's not updating. This is going to be horrendous going into that capture point with 60 seconds to go. So many maxes. Is Connery just going to give up? Are they just going to give them the base? They're like, nah, I don't want to go in there. Or are they actually going to say, you know what, we don't want you to have this base?
Cobalt's Air Force is large and in charge outside. I'm not sure that any other vehicles could be brought up here by Connery unless they decided to try and gal crash here, although they might be taken out even if they did that.
More and more reinforcements for Cobalt are streaming in. There's a couple of Connery forces trying to run down the sides, moving into the capture point. They got themselves a Sunderer? Yes, the Sunderer not deployed though, just being a nuisance. He's maybe trying to deploy, but with 24 seconds to go, the lower Max says engineer turrets at every single infantry under the sun of the point. The problem is they are all fighting on one point, and the Cobalt forces are being pushed by the Connery from the double doors, and it's a horrendous fight over the capture point with 12 seconds to go. But Cobalt has the point. There's not enough Connery infantry, and even though it's a horrendous grenade fest and the grenade wars have begun, they've managed to flip the point. But the res grenades are going off. There's more Connery forces on the point. The res grenades is more medics from Connery. They gotta get the point.
Seconds.
How much have we got? 19 seconds. They need to get the point back now, otherwise it's not going to happen.
You need to do a countdown.
It's not there.
Justicia on all call. I'll do a countdown. It's 15 seconds remaining. 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the end of the match. End of the match. 61 for Cobalt, 37 for Connery. Congratulations to Cobalt.
Well, there you go. It was close to about the halfway marker, and then Cobalt applied pressure. And we do have... What's that? Do you hear that, Redland? Do you hear that? Oh, I don't think you do, but everyone else in stream will. Here we go.
After 2 amazing hours of blood and nanites, cementing their place in this tournament with their first win by majority territory control, Cobalt Thunder!
Thank you, Poonanners. He left us a little present before he had to leave. So, Cobalt gets their first win. Crucially on the map, Cobalt is playing. They needed a win today. It was crucial that they got a win. They got it. And they win the game 61-37. What are your thoughts, Redland?
You are better than this.
I see that Connery had a real problem managing to hop their forces around. Cobalt, which to our best guess looked like it had about a platoon up in the air, and Connery looked like it didn't have a platoon up in the air. We don't know how many yet. You would think that would give an advantage. We've seen it in the past where it gives people an advantage on people on the ground. Connery couldn't move that forces around. There were so many fights where it felt like, wow, Cobalt is ahead. They shouldn't be ahead. They shouldn't have more people here. Connery should have more people here. And Cobalt managed to just win the force allocation here. They pushed hard in the north. They managed to get exactly what they wanted, and then they managed to push hard in the south. And that's the benefit. And a lot of people ask, why do ServerSmashes tend to just go to hell in a hurry after somebody gets a little bit of a lead? And it's partially because with a limited amount of time that you have, the person in the lead knows that they have a lot more options. Once you get a little bit of a lead and you get past halfway, you know that you can say, you know what, if they lose that base, it doesn't really matter. I can push here. I can move my forces around. That's why the opening is so important. That's why that first hour is so important to get what you want. And I really think that the turning point base was NC Arsenal. That was a 50-50 fight, or maybe a little bit towards NC Cobalt in the beginning, and that really altered that entire northern landscape. If Connery had gotten that, it might have been able to hold the lane and move some forces over and not lose as much in the north. Connery looked like they did a really good interdiction down in the south. They interdicted Raven's Landing, they interdicted Tumas Cargo, and unfortunately it wasn't enough to guarantee free caps on those places, and it wasn't enough to guarantee that they held the south in the end.
Well, there you go. So, I think we should maybe get our post-game interview going on. Lanzer or Justicia, can you go get our representatives from both teams, and we'll just have a little post-game.
Call. Can the representatives for the interviews, the same people who did interviews before, come to the interview channel, please? Thank you.
So, why did Cobalt win? We've already said the NC Arsenal pushing the top, that was crucial. They managed to get themselves pressure, interdiction on Luthcorp Central, they got themselves on the ascent. I didn't see anyone from Connery contend the ascent, did you?
No, Connery, it looked like they almost did a feint in the beginning. They put a lot of people down on Ravens as an interdiction, but they never went back to
their main push was the tech plant. They did that interdiction play that Emerald did against them the last time we played here, and they got Tumas Cargo Facility, they did the interdiction, they got the tech plant. Although ultimately there was a 30-second window where Cobalt could have theoretically screwed with the tech plant, ultimately it didn't seem like it made any difference. I do see our representatives are up there ready to go. Shall we jump up and ask them some questions?
Yes.
Hey guys, how you all doing?
We're good.
How was that as a game?
Oh my word.
Really, that good, huh?
Yeah, guys.
If I can just talk on behalf, it was the most surprising game I've ever seen. Halo Spud, you're one magnificent son of a bitch.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. It's just...
Oh shit.
We did outnumber them slightly. I did notice on the population percentages that they were
Sorry.
a touch short.
Sorry,
yeah, great game.
I didn't even swear. Oh, sorry.
Are we not allowed to say naughty words?
Well, it's still family
Are we
oriented.
waiting? Are we waiting for other people? Do we have? I see Patro. Do we have everyone from Cobalt that we need here?
We've got all of Cobalt.
Okay. Well, I wanted to go ahead and say, congratulations to Cobalt and well fought to Connery. Cobalt, what do you think was the main game changer for you in this match?
Halo.
Good question. I don't think that was especially a game changer. I think that we came out of the opening with the bases that we intended to cap in roughly the position we wanted to be, and we kind of knew from there that momentum was going to be ours. Particularly NC Arsenal, just a beautiful population sink, and it just seemed that every sort of feint we attempted to draw them into those, or most of them, worked. It just went according to plan. It couldn't have really gone any better for us.
And Connery, how did you feel about the opening? What happened in the opening? Did you get what you wanted? Did stuff work? And when did you start feeling that maybe Cobalt was ahead and you needed to start coming back from behind?
Well, our opener was actually a huge success. We did one NC Arsenal, but we didn't get it, which was fine. We were keeping a ton of forces tied up there, so no big deal. We had a huge successful interdiction at Tumas Cargo. Had a 30-second gap for them to take the tech plant back, which they never managed to take, which was great. So, we almost got a free tech plant, essentially, 7-10 minutes into the game. What really got us was just the air presence that Cobalt was bringing in. We could not keep up with the air presence, really. Our air was almost constantly grounded, and they were just using it appropriately on bases that mattered. So that being said, our northern lanes were just getting crushed by air constantly, and I eventually just had to say, you know what, the north is lost. Pull back to the biolab where air can't get you, and hold those two
How many
lanes
people
right
did
there.
you commit to as an air team? Like, I'm going to ask both teams. I'm assuming a platoon was put forward for Cobalt?
Yes, yeah.
And Connery, did you guys put forward a platoon, or what did you do there?
For where at?
For your air force, like, did you have like a set view? This is our air platoon, or did you have like a rotation system? Or what did you do for your air?
We tried to do a full platoon, but we ended up being short. I think we were short almost 2 squads nearly the whole match, sadly.
It's interesting. Both of you said that from an opening standpoint, you both got about what you wanted. Connery, what do you think was the base that did it for you? Was it the whole north and just the grind up there? Was there one particular thing that they kind of caught you in the wrong position and you spent too much time on, or is there one thing, or is it mostly just that grind in the north?
It was a grind in the north. Their air presence up there was forcing me to have to reallocate so much, way too many forces to handle a simple 50-50 situation that was just amplified by air. So, aside from that, when it came to the ground game, we were doing just fine, holding our own. Our guys were pushing quite well. It's just, they did a good job at moving that huge...
They'd split into two teams, and we noticed that whenever you guys chose to attack, the Air Force would turn up and just eliminate all your spawns. There's that inability of freedom of movement, and the fact that when they were attacking a base, they could go outside and be more aggressive in their defense, being away from the capture point, outside the building where all the grenades going off. And they could do that because they didn't have to worry about your Air Force. Do you think you agree, or do you think that was maybe off?
No, that's pretty much what I've been saying this whole time.
Was there any other anything that you guys noticed, or a specific fight that you want to talk about, the way it went, or that it was memorable from your server's perspectives?
Well, we did some fantastic caps where there was a huge reinforcement at the end, and we just managed to see it through. And those ones that are in the balance where it could go either way in the last few seconds, if you've got the squad leaders and the players to manage those, which fortunately we have, they make a huge difference. If you can just buy those last few key seconds, it's the difference between winning and losing so often. So particularly, let me have a think of the base names now. Torimar Storage Yard was a close one. I think North Grove was as well. There were a few really good fights there that were, very delicately balanced. And that was one thing we wanted to do from the beginning that I planned into our whole strategy, was learn from the Emerald game really not to heavily overpop defences, because it's a waste of people. If we lose a 50-50 base, my view is we deserve to, for a defence that is. we overpopped the attacks. And it seemed to work kind of well. So we draw Connery into overpopping defences. The Bastion, I think they did a couple of times where we didn't really put that many forces on it, and it allowed us to exploit openings elsewhere.
We only put like a platoon on the Bastion once. Other than that, we only ever had like 1 squad or 2 squads there, maximum. We never thought it was a big deal because the way I was always looking at it is this is a 7-point cap. Unless I see it actually get down to 2 minutes, then I'm not going to worry about it, and you never got that far. So.
Yeah, you did the same thing with us at the biolab. I noticed that at the end.
Yep, I just let you guys push it and then crush it. Unfortunately, it was just way too late in the game when you guys had that south side locked down. If I would have did something like that sooner, it might have made a difference, but when you have a territory advantage like that, you can afford to just massive overload bases and not fear the consequences somewhere else, whereas I had to make sure that we had enough somewhere just to hold the line.
To be honest, talking about the huge territory advantage, one thing that impressed me a lot about Connery is that they were 2 squads down, they were backs up against the wall, and they didn't give up. They fought to the very end, which is admirable. My old server, Ceres, we didn't do that. So, I respect that.
All right. Is there anything else that any of the other casters want to ask, or is there anything that the 2 servers want to say to each other before we wrap this up?
All of Cobalt would like to just say a few words in the effort of raise your RSGs.
Oh my god! But thank you for advertising.
Here's a question for you. Tomorrow, which me and Redland are going to talk about more. Emerald Miller. Predictions.
Emerald.
I'm thinking Emerald.
And what score? Today was 61-37. What do you think the score is going to be?
Close.
Depending if Miller... Yeah. Wait, no.
There are 2 Millers basically, aren't they? It depends if they turn up. They could put up a good resistance, but too often they don't.
Alright, you heard it there first. Alright, thank you very much, guys. It was fun talking to you guys. And I guess you got a 2-week break and then you'll be back. Who are they playing Redland on Hassan?
Hassan is going to be Miller versus Cobalt and Emerald versus Connery. I don't know that those are the people who are doing the coin flips. I just
so Connery guys, you're looking forward to playing Emerald on Hassan? That's a no.
I'm already having post-traumatic stress disorder from ServerSmash already. It's a whole different beast to tackle that continent, really.
Yeah.
In terms of leading forces there, so definitely going to need to go back and reevaluate how we're going to attack that.
There's so few ServerSmashes in terms of games, right? And the meta is evolving all the time. Every time people come back, they play better, they change things around, and it has a great kind of impact on the game. And there's the meta of the playing the games, the meta for the leaders, how they commit their forces. We're just seeing every game, it just evolves. People seeing what people have done before, and then just moving around. And it gets more complicated because the mass strategy, we change the continents. So it's not like you can do Amerish again and again and again and get it sorted. So I am looking forward to seeing what you guys do in Hassan. I think Hassan is the crown jewel of chaos for the Force Commander. Right.
Yeah, I'm hoping somebody else takes that one.
It's like, not me.
It's been like 60 hours work on this in the last week, with a full-time job as well. Tough job being a Force.
Yeah,
Planetside is serious business, yo.
Appreciated position, that's for sure.
There should be like a special reward for Force Commander. We'll maybe ask about it. But anyway, thanks so much, guys.
Hold on, we didn't mention that Cobalt also won the pumpkin hunt, and we didn't decide whether.
No, the Fun Police won the pumpkin hunt.
Fun Police won it.
Well, okay, fine, but Fun Police shouldn't have been competing. So between the two competing servers, you guys won the pumpkin hunt. We haven't decided whether that should count against you or for you, to be perfectly honest.
Can I get a list of
good.
the Cobalt guys that shot pumpkins so I can ban them from the next season?
I don't even know we have the stats.
Unless the pumpkin popped up while you were shooting at someone else, I can't imagine killing a pumpkin at ServerSmash, but apparently people did, so.
There you go. Right, cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time, and hopefully tell everyone to watch the game tomorrow. Me and Redland are just going to finish up the stream, and we'll see you guys in a few weeks.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah, thank you to
Thank you, Farwell.
ServerSmash
the
for
rest of the
putting
team.
all this hard work into making these events possible. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Cheers. Oh, Red, that's that. 61 to 37. Do you think Cobalt would win today?
I think it was. I think there was a lot of danger from Cobalt. Cobalt is it definitely seems to be the most dangerous of the EU teams, and I think a lot of people, you saw that a lot in chat, and they've learned a lot. They've learned a lot from the first few times we saw them in ServerSmash under different circumstances. But they adapted to what other people did to them. They saw Connery's Air Force and they took it and they made it their own.
Right. So Cobalt has learned. They originally in the first couple of ServerSmashes performed poorly, but just each one after each one, they learned from what they did wrong, saw what other teams did, and they just improved. So I mean, that's quite impressive, and it really interesting to see what happens tomorrow. It seems popular opinion is that Emerald's going to win. Who knows? Miller might pull something out. They may have learned from their previous experiences. We'll see how that goes. So we'll just bring up the post-game details. Tomorrow, we have Emerald playing as NC versus Miller playing VS. Is that correct? I think it is. In Amerish, 288 versus 288. That is tomorrow. It is start time is 2 hours earlier than today's game. So it is 5:30 UTC. That's our pre-game show, and the game actually starts at 6 o'clock UTC. So the times are on stream. If you want details, you can go to our planetsidebattles.org webpage. That will have details on the results, the numbers, who's playing, when they're playing, what continent they're playing, all the stuff that you would need. Coin flips and details are also on the ServerSmash subreddit. Let's see. I was asked to do a shout out. Other thing that's going on with Planetside Battles is not just ServerSmash. We are attempting to do a public pickup. There will be another public pickup. This will be the first time it's on Jaeger with accounts. It will be on October the 18th at 8 o'clock UTC. There is a ServerSmash subreddit. In there, you will find details for the outfit public pickup. So it's basically you go in and you just play with other guys in two teams and you have fun. And it's Jaeger you can't be pestered with. So if that sounds interesting to you, anybody can go. You don't need to be in an outfit. Just you can go to the subreddit, find out some more details, and then say you want to take part. So that's that.
Before we move on to something else, Maelstrom wanted to say something about the stats before we head out here.
Yes, stats. What happened, Maelstrom?
Yes. I don't know what particularly happened, but I know what happened as a result. So, basically, what happened is that only 74 people were logged in the database of what we use, which meant that's why we were getting extremely high kills to certain people, like VS702 was 1,356.
It's just really good.
Yeah, which it's wrong. Clearly, he did not get that. So
yeah, we'll have a look at the stats and we'll get it fixed for tomorrow. Is that what you're saying?
That's basically right, yeah. But I want to mention that the territory stats are correct and they are valid. So it's just the kills that are incorrect.
Okay.
Obviously, I do apologise about this, and I'll try and fix it for tomorrow.
Yeah, work harder. Back to your cave. Okay. I think that's all.
Actually, there was one other thing you wanted to mention, Farah, about the people forming competitive teams.
Oh, right, yeah. So I was going to maybe talk about this tomorrow, but this is our last kind of shout out. So, in ServerSmash, we have set teams where you play for your server, and I've already mentioned this before in the past, but you play for your server, and the servers decide how they pick people, and you may not necessarily like who you play with or whatnot, or you think you can make a better team. Well, now's your chance to step up and actually prove it. I'm going to be hosting a show match on the end of November, probably. I've already got one team leader set up, and he's forming a team, and we're looking for a second team leader. So if you want to poke me in TeamSpeak, or if you want to send me a message on Reddit, or a forum post, or just get in contact with me by any means, I'm looking for basically a team leader who can form a team. And what I mean here is that we're going to play ServerSmash. It's going to be 192 versus 240, and we're going to be playing across the entire continent.
You mean it will be between 192, 240?
Yeah,
not 192 versus
yeah. So it'll be the standard pan whole continent fight, but the difference is that there are no restrictions on teams. So we're talking if you want to have 36 people from one outfit, or you want to have 240 people from one outfit. If you want to have outfits from Briggs, Connery, Cobalt, Miller, Emerald, because you think these guys are good, I will offer them an invite. Yes, they want to play for me, and you can make that team. That's great. I have absolutely no restrictions on what faction they play, what server they're from, or how many people from said outfit. I just need you to make a team of about 240 people. That's what we're planning, and we'll probably play on we haven't decided the map, but I've got an idea what we're going to go with, and we're going to do a demonstration match at the end of November. The goal being that I want to obviously keep the focus on the tournaments. We're not going to do anything on the bye weeks, but when the tournament's over, and then we have a few weeks to cool off, then we'll do this demo match, and it'll be more competitive in that you choose who plays for you, and you choose tactics, strategies, and whatnot. So this, and I guess you could call it more competitive. I know Planetside 2 isn't like super competitive, but...
And one of the things with forming Planetside battles, we want to bring other events here, and this is another event. This does not replace.
Yeah, it's not a replacement for ServerSmash. ServerSmash will still happen, and at the end of the tournament, we'll decide. This is going off tangent now, but the point is, we'll decide how things go on after the end of our tournament number 1, but ultimately this goes along the side. I don't necessarily have a name for it, maybe Outfit Smash, NFL Smash, something along those lines, but ultimately is pre-formed teams across the entire player base, that you make the team, you choose your players, then you can challenge another team, and we're going to have a demonstration match, and then depending on how much interest there is after the demonstration match, we may form a mini league or a mini kind of round robin tournament or something like that, where you can choose who you want to play with. So theoretically, you could have well-established outfits coming together to make a team, or you could have unknown outfits coming together to form a team of 240 and then playing in a tournament. So that's what I'm looking really forward to. I've had a lot of positive feedback from different outfits and different people who want to take part, but I'm not going to be making the teams. It is up to you guys to make a team. So if you want to be a team leader and you want to form a team, then get in contact with me and I'll get it all set up for the end of November. Okay, so I think that's everything, Redlin. I will probably write this up, what I'm after, on one of the Reddits, on the Planetside 2 Reddit or something like that, to give more details. We want to kind of bring it to light. We've obviously gone way long at the end of this thing, so we're talking about this. I'll talk about it again probably after tomorrow's ServerSmash, and I'll also mention the, again, public pickups, October 18th, 8 o'clock UTC. So, right, so thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 2 hours earlier than what started today, for Emerald versus Miller. We'll see you then. Good night and take care.